Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi
Uh,
everyone.
for joining us next time. Sorry for being like 1 minute late. However, we are starting. And today we are going to discuss with Tomek how to write a good job posting. So how to make sure that your job posting will be more advertisement than something that will make sure your candidates want attend your recruitment. So Tomek, how do you think? What's the most crucial part related to the job posting?
You know what? I would actually say just one word: conciseness. So if you want to find the best candidates and make sure that the candidates aren't like rejecting your job advertisements in the first place, just be concise. Make it very detailed. However, do not like pull a lot of data, a lot of extra text, whatever. Just put the essential details, and we're going to tell you what are the essential details during this live because I prepared some notes. Just put the essential details, and that's enough for the candidates. Just make sure this is not a like 5-page essay that just repeats every single sentence, like every single that you can find in every single job ad. So don't try to be unique, but try to be very specific, very concise, and very precise, I would say. So these are the main traits of a good job ad.
Okay, so what's the most important part of the job advertisement? Do you think that it's the requirements or more the benefits? So do we want to treat job posting as something that tells the candidate what we require for them, or the opposite? So what we offer for them to them, or what candidates can expect from us, from our company? Which part is more crucial, let's say, on which you should focus on?
Yeah, you know what? I would actually twist this question a little bit because very often in our industry, the requirements are also the benefits. This is especially true if your company is having some really interesting technological stack, or maybe you're working with some really awesome product, irrespective to the technology stack, or maybe the team you're going to be working with is like especially great. Like maybe you're going to be working with the author of a web framework, or maybe someone who is known from the internet, some celebrity, or maybe you have people who are really skilled. So it
So you
actually
mean
kind of
like if
depends. Yeah.
we put like the microservices in the requirement, that's a requirement, but also a benefit showing that you are working with like modern stuff. Like we've been discussing the technological stack, how to advertise your technological stuff. So it means like if we'll say okay, so you need to know Java 11, it's also an advertisement in terms of the technology. The
Yes.
question is what's important for non-technological parts, because I get your point and I fully agree with that, but there are also some fruity Tuesdays or something like this. So should we
Yeah. So
touch things in recruitment?
Yeah, so from my perspective, there are two, maybe three things that I would consider really important when looking at the job ad. The technology stack, so the things that that I'm supposed to know and use. That's one thing, definitely. People are going to be working with the project. So what kind of business am I supposed to implement? And last but not least, the money. So I definitely expect a job ad to have just a rough estimate of how much I'm going to earn. Because let's not gonna lie, we're working for money most of the time, unless you're working for, I don't know, some really great project that changes the world, like, I don't know, Wikipedia or Mozilla. Then in that case, I'm not saying you're not earning great money there. I'm just saying that it's something that you can dream of for your whole life, and money doesn't make that much of a difference
But
there.
also employers should be aware of putting salary stuff. You can earn from $1,000 to $100,000 per month or something, because it happens when the range of the salaries really like huge. It's like if you're buying a new car, you can buy a new car for like $20,000, and you could buy the same model from the same year for like 3 times more if you will add some leather seats, some cameras, some extra stuff like Harman Kardon like speakers, etc. So please be aware of like putting the very like say stupid like salary expectation or salary information. So what else? Where do you think like the employers are making the biggest mistakes when like posting job ads?
So we've talked about technology sometimes, and this was already covered in the technology stack part live that we did last time. So do not make it a wish list. Do not promise, do not overpromise things that are not present at your company. So if you're thinking about like implementing some technology, or if you have like 10% of your technology stack written in some new and shiny framework, don't claim that this is the thing you're going to be using. Also be honest about the nature of work that you are offering. Is it going to be maintenance? Is it going to be a greenfield project? Is it going to be like rewriting monolith to microservices, microservices to serverless, or serverless to whatever is popular when you are watching this? So just be clear and be honest, because otherwise the person's just going to go away and you will lose a lot of money for the recruitment process that failed. So that's okay. You're going to reject a candidate who does not want to do maintenance. You are looking for the person who loves doing maintenance, and there are people like that, and you want to find them on the market, because there can be a contrary situation where you find a person who loves maintenance but hates doing greenfield work, and you don't want to do that as well. So just be very clear what kind of working conditions in that terms are offered. So there are tons of other things that you can like kind of skip or forget to put, like do you expect people to work in the office or remotely, or can you work remotely once a week or once a month or half of the time, or whatever happens after the pandemic? Do you have to travel for business reasons often or not? What kind of languages do you need to know? And I'm talking about human languages like English, maybe something different. Maybe you will be like chatting with people from France or Spain or whatever. So all of these are somewhat important, but I would focus on basically being honest. And one more thing, if you were silent, even if you forgot to mention, or maybe you intentionally forgot to mention something in your job ad, and you realize that's something you could mention to me beforehand. If you realize that during the recruitment process, 90% of the candidates are dropping off because they ask you some question like, what is the salary? Where's the office? Do I have to support end users and so on? If you didn't put that information in the job ad, and once the candidate asks that specific question, everyone just drops because they are disappointed, then it's much better to just put that in the job ad, because you will lose many candidates, but you will save a lot of money not passing them through the recruitment process. You're just being honest, and people will just like reject your offer straight away. But on the other hand, you will get people who are prepared for your good or bad conditions, or just specific conditions. Maybe you need to work in a factory, or maybe you need to like speak to people in different time zones. Maybe the work hours aren't you cannot
Standard,
adjust them.
yeah.
You have to work 9 to 5. And there's no question about it. You have to be in the office at 9 a.m. sharp. And if you don't, then
the doors are being closed and like go out.
Yeah.
And
if that's the case, because that's your company and that's your policies, okay, I can live with that. Just make sure you put it in the job ad, or you make it clear at the very beginning of the process, because otherwise you're just wasting your candidates time.
Treat job posting as a kind of a filter. So it's something that should like advertise you to the candidates that you want to like have, and also like filter out all the candidates that are not going finally to work in your company. So as screening is pretty important part of the like recruitment process, because it allows you to filter out the candidates before they enter the parts of the recruitment funnel that requires this human touch. That's something that we've covered with Tomek like 2 days ago on our webinar. That's like available on our YouTube channel. Then you should treat like the job posting as well. And the question is like, if we are like adding some requirements, even for the hard skills, strong skills for the people, I often see that it's more a wish list than like a set of real requirements. And if you take a look at the requirements, like then you get like 20 years of experience with Golang and like 10 years of experience in something, and like and you should be just after your studies or something like this. Then such people does not exist simply. And if someone have something like this in their resume or CV, it like basically means they're lying. And the question is if you want to hire such people. So be aware of like what's in the must have and nice to have requirements, and like be honest there, but also like think about the candidates, and if it's possible to find some people, because it's pretty easy and we can like sit down right now and write a job posting for a unicorn Java developer. The question is if we know that we won't be able to find anyone with all the requirements, should we add it or shouldn't we add it? And often IT people are just like filling out all the skills they have in their team. So I will say, okay, so this person should be aware of Maven, should be aware of Java. Tomek will say, yeah, and I also know Eric's Java, so let's add Eric's Java here. And I will say, yeah, and I'm also doing trainings from some time to time, so let's add like trainings like public performances, performance tuning. I'm aware of performance tuning. Let's add security. Let's add like all synth techniques. Why not, etc. And the question is if we should do like this, or should you focus on finding people with particular skills that you know are crucial? In joint dev
Interest.
skiller, you need to be like very good Java developer. You need to have like the distributed architecture like awareness. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to understand what Tomek is like saying in our meetings. And also you should be aware of I don't know, some relational or non-relational database, and be cloud aware. And that's all basically. Like and then like all the things that you have and were not listed in our job posting is something that would be nice to have. If you have more skills than we listed, that then it's good for you and it's good for us as well.
Yeah, so essentially what you can do two things. You can either split your requirements, either technical or maybe non-technical, into like two categories, so must have and nice to have. And this is a very clear and concise way of putting it. So must have Ruby, Ruby on Rails, and Amazon Web Services. Okay, nice to have DevOps practices, security, agile, whatever you put there. Okay, your mileage may vary. And in that case, or you can put a must-have section, and then you can post a link to your blog post or to some website or whatever which describes your technology stack. In which case, the candidate not only knows that he or she should know Ruby and Ruby on Rails, but also these are the other technologies that he or she will encounter. But interestingly, I'd much rather hire a candidate who is like capable of learning new stuff rather than having a person who knows precisely this set of 27 technologies and nothing else, and he or she is not capable of learning anything more. So don't look for the perfect unicorn, ninja, whatever that has the total sum of the skills that every team member, every single component in your infrastructure has, because we are taught to, we are prepared to teach ourselves to learn new skills very fast, and you should rather look for that. So I would actually even go as far as giving a homework assignment or giving a task, a quiz or whatever in a technology that is somewhat out of scope for a candidate, just slightly. I mean, I'm not saying like give a backend developer a JavaScript task, but something that is slightly out of scope, just to see whether the candidate is capable of like Googling the solution. So finding a solution in Google and Stack Overflow, whatever, quickly, because that's a much better skill than just knowing everything like by hand. We are not encyclopedia. We are people who are like trained to look for information fast.
And to be honest, like in our job posting, like the must-have was like ability to learn fast. And that's really important. I remember like many years ago, I was working for some telecom company and I needed to add, I think, some LDAP integration for Sonar. so static code analysis
Code analysis.
platform, and it was written in Ruby, and I was a Java developer and just needed to do that. So like of course, like Googling, copy pasting some solutions, looking for patterns that I can copy paste, adapt, etc. And it was working after a week, so it was pretty good. And so yeah, if you're looking for people who can adapt, because for example your company is evolving or your company is growing dynamically, then like be honest, like put like, hey, you will do many different things. Like next year you'll be like in totally different environment. Put it also in your job posting. Also, like what's important is like there is something called, I think, a Joel's Polski test, like
Yeah,
12
it's
factors.
Joel test. It's actually quite old. I just looked it up. It's 20 years old, so it's slightly outdated, but you can like treat it as a guideline to what your company should.
Do you use issue tracking software? Do you use version control software? Do you use like CICD engine? What kind of like development process you use or something? Is that's important to mention because I won't join a company that is not using CICD. At least I'm joining this company to introduce CICD for them. But also, like if you are like doing I don't know, pre-programming. If you are like writing tests, maybe you are following test-driven design or TDD the practices, always remember to put such information. Even if you don't, then I would also think about putting it there, because if like some developers are crazy about tests, they don't want to join such company. And even if you will like manage to somehow hire them, it's pretty probable or pretty sure that they will just drop the job after the trial period, and that's the worst thing that you can do. Hire someone who like reject the offer after a trial period.
It's terrible for a company because you're wasting a lot of money, but also remember about the candidate, because that's the person who quits current job, and this is like a very big step in the candidate's life. So just be responsible and do not over promise things that you cannot deliver. So touching upon what you've said, like ask your developers, do we have something non-standard that every other company has, or maybe we're doing something like terribly different? Are you aware of something like that? And then they're going to tell you something like, yeah, we use Subversion rather than Git, and we are not planning to migrate to Git. So yeah, we should probably be clear about it. And many people won't care. I mean, maybe there are even some people who enjoy using Subversion, but that may pull off quite a few candidates at the very early stage, because I would never work in Subversion anymore in my life, I guess, and that seems like Kuba as well.
Yeah.
But there are people who will, and that's okay for them. So just be clear about it, and don't let people. You won't have to let people go just because your version control system, which is actually a tiny thing, because your version control system is like not suitable, or any other tiny detail like.
But it tells a lot about the company culture and how the company works. Because if the company is like stuck on Subversion or CVS, it means that probably the rest of the technology also is pretty stale. So it tells a lot about the company, and it doesn't mean there aren't people on the market that want to work for such companies. To be honest, there are a lot of people that don't want to learn new stuff. They prefer to like work with technologies that they know.
That's
and also
okay.
Also those like those jobs are paid usually pretty well, because that's one of the biggest benefits that you can give to developers that are not willing to learn new stuff. So like I agree with that. Do you think that it's anything else that should be part of the good job posting?
Yeah, so one thing that we really brag about quite a lot is the length of the recruitment process and how it looks. So it's a very good idea to put it as part of a job description, that if you apply to us, the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to automatically send you a programming assignment. As in, no one's going to come, there's not going to be any human person interacting with you. You're just going to get a short homework assignment that we're asking you to perform.
Machine gatekeeper.
Yeah, something like that. So be prepared for that. And many people will just say, "Oh, I don't have time for this. I'd rather talk to the real person," and that's okay. I mean, you're just honest about it, and you're not over promising. Once again, also be clear that you're looking for someone like in the next 2 weeks. So if you're not capable, if you're not available in the next 2 weeks, then you know straight away that you're not the best person. Or the contrary, your recruitment process is so long and there's nothing you can do about it, which is really a shame. Your recruitment process is like 3 months long, and be prepared to wait so long for the response. If you have a candidate who currently doesn't have a job, 3 months is too much. If you have someone who has a very stable job and he's
And
just
3 month notice period, then it's pretty good.
3 months notice period, yeah. So that's okay. So make sure to describe like what are the steps that you're gonna get. Is there gonna be a homework? How long would it take? How many talks, how many meetings are needed to get to the response? Will you get a proper feedback? So it would look great in the job advertisement if you simply say, after the last talk, we're going to provide you a very detailed feedback about the whole process and every single step of it, which is great because you're going to learn a lot throughout the process. And I think we talked a lot about the feedback already. So what you should put in that feedback. So the length of the process, how many steps, and how much time would it take in total for a candidate to fulfill the recruitment process. These are important things because people want to know how much time are they supposed to invest. And for example, do they have to travel to a different city to talk to a manager of a manager of a manager or something? Like things happen, right?
Okay, so let's try to maybe sum up how and what you need to do to write a good job posting. So first thing, and we are like repeating it in every like week, like be honest, because otherwise you will waste a lot of time and money, yours and the candidate. And remember that some of the requirements are also benefits. If you put microservices, if you will put like modern cloud infrastructure, it's a requirement, but it's a benefit as well. And add the information about the company, about the title of the job, if it's a greenfield project, if it's a maintenance project. If it's both, then like add some proportion, like 80% maintenance, 20% greenfield, and add all the benefits. So if you are working in some framework, but the framework author is working in your company as well, then remember to add it. Add the information about the practices. So if you are using tests, if you are using TDD, if you are using CICD, maybe continuous deployment.
Agile or not agile.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's agile these days, but what it means for you.
Yeah, so if you are doing agile, or if you are an agile company, because these are two different things. So remember to add it as well. And what else, Tomek?
Salary range, which is not supposed to be like crazy wide. So you have a budget and you know exactly how much money are you supposed to give to a candidate. Then the people will really appreciate how much money will they get for the work they do. Sounds obvious, but it's not that popular, turns out. And what else? Conciseness. So don't write 5-page long essay or pamphlet or whatever. Just list things that are important, list things that are nice to have but not as important, and make sure that you clearly distinguish them. Because, well, we would love to have everything in a structured and very searchable way. We are looking through tons of job ads, just like you look at tons of CVs. So just like you want to have a very structured, clear, and short CV, we would like to have a short, concise job ad. So just be kind to each other.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. If you have any questions or comments, you can always ask them under the video on our social medias or YouTube. And thank you very much, and see you next week, probably. Bye-bye.
Yeah.